You've definitely heard of the growth mindset, right? It's this super popular idea that you can actually grow your own intelligence. It's everywhere, in schools, in business, you name it. But what if the science doesn't quite back up all the hype? Well, in this explainer, we're gonna dig in and separate the incredible promise from the hard proof. So, let's just start with the biggest question of all. Is your intelligence something you're born with, something that's just fixed, or is it more like a muscle that you can train and develop over time? Honestly, how you answer that question is the foundation of this entire topic. And it really boils down to two different ways of looking at the world. On one side, you've got the fixed mindset. This is the belief that, your talents, your smarts, they're just innate. You've got what you've got, and that's pretty much it. But on the other side, there's the growth mindset. And this is the belief that you can develop your abilities through hard work, good strategies, and just plain dedication. And this simple idea, this grow your brain concept, just exploded. It became a global phenomenon. And the reason why is pretty obvious. The promise it makes is just so compelling. This right here is the claim that really started it all. From psychologist Carol Dweck. The idea that just by changing what a student believes about their own brain, you could have profound effects on how well they do in school, that was absolutely revolutionary. It felt like we'd found a simple psychological key to unlocking a ton of hidden potential. And you can see why it's so attractive. The theory says that if you have a growth mindset, you stop worrying about looking smart and you start focusing and learning. You actually welcome challenges. You see mistakes as opportunities to get better, and you believe that effort, more than anything else, is the path to getting good at something. Now, this wasn't just some feel-good psychological theory. It was actually grounded in a really fascinating biological principle, something that gives the whole idea its scientific street cred. And that principle is called neuroplasticity. This is the amazing, now proven fact that our brains are not fixed machines. They can literally change themselves, reorganize, and build new connections based on what we learn and experience. And they can keep doing this our entire lives. I mean, this is a massive change in how we understand ourselves. For the longest time, science thought that once you hit adulthood, your brain was pretty much set in stone. But as you can see here, modern neuroscience has shown us it's a much more dynamic, flexible organ, and growth mindset theory is built right on top of that biological reality. So how does this rewiring actually happen? Well, it's kind of like a three-step dance. First, you face a challenge, and that gets your brain firing. Second, in response, your brain starts forming new connections, new pathways. And third, when you practice and put in the effort, you strengthen those pathways. You are literally building a better, faster brain. Okay, so the theory is powerful, the science is real, but what happens when you actually try to use this stuff in the real world, like in a classroom? Let's take a look at a study that put it to the test. So, a recent study focused on university students in math classes. Researchers gave one group a 2-week online program all about growth mindset ideas, teaching them about neuroplasticity, reframing mistakes as just part of learning. The big question was, would it actually make them better at math? Well, the results were complicated. It turns out the intervention's effect really depended on the context. If you look at the table, for arts majors, the connection between self-belief and doing well was stronger for women. But in the technology program, it completely flipped. The link was stronger for men. So here's the crucial takeaway. Mindset isn't some universal magic wand. This study suggests that, yeah, it can help, but its impact gets all tangled up with other things like gender, what you're studying, and where you're starting from. The story's a lot messier than it first seems. And that complexity, well, that leads us right to the other side of this story. Because as the hype around growth mindset got bigger and bigger, so did the scientific scrutiny. And that paints a much more critical picture. In 2023, a massive study called a meta-analysis came out. Researchers gathered up the data from 63 different studies on growth mindset interventions to get the definitive big picture view. They weren't just looking at one classroom, they were looking at the whole field. After analyzing data from all those studies, they were able to boil the overall impact down to a single crucial number, an average effect size of just 0.05. So what on earth does that number mean? It means that across almost 100,000 students, the average impact of these interventions on their actual grades was, and I'm quoting the researchers here, very small. Yes, it was a positive effect, but it was tiny, like bordering on zero. But It actually gets a bit more concerning. The researchers also corrected for something called publication bias. That's the tendency for studies with exciting, positive results to get published, while studies where nothing happened just get forgotten in a file drawer. Well, once they adjusted for that bias, the already tiny effect shrank to basically nothing. The meta-analysis also found some major problems with the research itself. A lot of the studies had flawed designs, so it was hard to say if the mindset message was really causing the change. And here's the real kicker: in about half the cases they looked at, the interventions didn't even successfully change the students' mindsets in the first place. Okay, so we have this powerful, inspiring idea on one hand, and some very, very sobering data on the other. How in the world do we reconcile these two things? And this right here is the central tension of the whole thing. On one side, you've got this incredible promise: change your mindset, change your life. But on the other, you've got the hard scientific proof. The actual measurable impact on grades is, on average, somewhere between tiny and non-existent. So the crucial point seems to be this: the idea of a growth mindset, believing you can improve, valuing hard work, learning from failure, that is, without a doubt, a powerful and healthy way to look at life. But the evidence tells us that trying to package that idea into a quick, simple program that reliably boosts grades for everyone, that's just way, way harder than the hype would have you believe. Which leaves us with a final, much more useful question. Maybe we shouldn't be asking if growth mindset is true or false. Maybe the real question is it the magic bullet for education that we were all promised? Or is it simply one important tool in a much larger, much more complex toolkit for learning? The evidence seems to suggest it's the latter. Thanks for joining us.